Hello there. It is March 12th. Wait, no. 12th or 13th? I'll figure out what day it is after I finish recording this video and upload onto YouTube. So today is a pretty good day, I feel like. Weather's been pretty nice last day or two. The high was about 76. Don't mind screaming children. Hope they'll be okay, but from what I can tell, I think they're probably fine. I don't know. I don't have children. Way too fucking. Well, I'm not ready for that. Financially, mentally, or really any other way, I suppose. But yeah, anyways. So, weather was pretty nice. The high was about 76 Fahrenheit, or what's like what? Said it's like what, 22, 23 Celsius? Maybe a little over than that, I don't know. Something like that. I'm not perfect. I don't know Celsius as well as I know Fahrenheit, but I'm getting better, I think. Tell me if I'm wrong. But anyhow, so let's see here. Counting class actually went live fairly quickly. I do have some homework stuff, but don't think it's too bad. I don't know. Might take a little longer though. I might think, because I kind of I don't know. Sometimes I get kind of distracted during these afternoons and evenings after dinner, because it's just I kind of just want to, wind down and just, enjoy the rest of my day. But anyhow. So, yesterday and today, and I'm trying to remember, maybe the day before yesterday as well, but I don't really remember as much about that in this particular case over Monday. But, I've kind of had my mind for most of the last 2 days or so on the topic of where in the world do I want to live, right? And so, I have a few different places in mind, I think, right? And I don't know if if or when I might get the opportunities to, either study abroad or do a job experience or internship, or simply just have a vacation to, either England or Canada, right? But I do know, I'm going to, those were the other two places I had in mind. I just said it. I was going to try to get people to guess, but whatever. I already said it. It doesn't really matter. And I know I'm going to study abroad in Australia, this fall. Super excited. So yeah, I'm just kind of thinking I don't know, because, well, one, there's a lot of factors to consider, distance, how close I'm to family, climate, politics, stances on, stuff like religion, or, personal, or sort of societal sort of values, what sort of activities kind of exist, food, all sorts of stuff. Way more than just beyond what I said, but, those are some examples of stuff. Take it for me to consider, right? But, especially as something I think of in terms of sort of values and attitudes that each of the people in each of these three different places have, what stuff I like, what stuff I don't, because, I'd also like to, know what I'd be getting myself into, right? Understand, I want to be realistic. I understand the good and the bad, about any place that I go in the world, right? Whether, regardless if I decide to live there or not, but anyhow, so yeah, got that, but I'm kind of thinking, well, I can do and have, done, okay, so I've done a decent amount of, research and just looking stuff up and, looking for different people's opinions online, right? But I feel like that I feel like I'd probably prefer to, like, decide, like, much more fully for myself, when I actually get the opportunities to, go to, all three of these places. Once I've done that, and I can kind of assess, kind of determine. So, I'm thinking that excuse me. I'm kind of thinking that, dang it, I forgot what I was going to say. Wow, to-do. Oh, right, yeah, just remembered. So, I was kind of thinking that I, might prefer to, might like to, make a video or two, or I don't know, maybe like 5 or 6 or so, I don't know how many it would be, right? But I could do at least maybe a handful of videos, right, for, each country, right, and kind of, you go in depth and kind of explore, my thought processes, kind of stuff I've learned, my lived experiences, right, that kind of stuff, after and or during I, do anything like that, as well as I also like the idea of maybe making a few videos on some stuff that I've maybe kind of learned or information I've gathered so far, and sort of my adventure thoughts and whatnot, and just so that we can kind of compare those and just see what it would be like. I'm thinking right now that I probably want to hold off on doing too much of any videos, where like I talk about a lot of the stuff that you haven't maybe learned, or stuff I liked or whatever, about Australia or Sydney or Australian culture or anything like that, right, until perhaps closer to when I leave, right, probably like in the summer or maybe in late May or something. I don't know, we'll see. I mean, I got plenty of time. I don't worry about that yet. But yeah, so anyways, just kind of giving you all an idea there. So anyway, if you like this, if you enjoy this video, feel free to like it. Feel free to subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to reach 100 subscribers before Easter. I'm currently at 65. So thank you everyone who's helped contribute to that goal so far. I really appreciate that. Yeah, so let's get back to the rest of the video here. So, let's see. I don't really know too much what else to say right off the bat, but yeah, I mean, of course, feel free to, leave me some questions or thoughts of your own if, anyone especially if if anyone in my audience, if you're not from here in America, right, and you kind of want to, I don't know, potentially give me sort of feedback on anything I've said so far, feel free. Don't have to if you don't want to, but just offering the opportunity. Well, I mean, I don't really know if it matters that I say that, because people could comment regardless, unless I make comments not available for this video. But I probably, I mean, I don't know, I might have videos like that in the future, but I don't really like that, and I may not like or agree with everything everyone says, but I do believe in, free speech, the right to express yourself. So yeah, that's why I personally don't like the where you can make it have no comments, because I think you should be able to express yourself, right? Especially if it's an online form. I mean, plus people are gonna comment stuff anyway, so you might as well not, bring pains to them. Why not giving them some outlet for it? I don't know. I mean, free speech is definitely a very complicated matter. It's definitely a very, complicated issue, or right, especially, here in the United States. I think it really probably applies, probably to a lot of the world, if not the entire world, entire world except for, like, Antarctica, because nobody fucking lives there, except for some scientists, but I don't think they have to worry about that. Plus, that's like, since there's no nation there, it's just, everyone, and everyone who goes there, they just go to, I think, whatever their country's, base is, since nobody owns the whole continent. Who would even want to live there anyways? I don't know. It's too fucking cold. Anyhow, going across the street here. Alright, seems like good time, because just saw one car come up from over there, so yeah. And I don't know, maybe not, it may didn't even show, but there was this lady who was, she was walking her child, in their stroller, I think it was. So I don't know if you saw that. Not really used to people being that close when I make these videos, but I don't know. I don't know, or maybe you didn't even see anything at all. Maybe I'm worrying too much. Why, hello there. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think what else. Oh yeah. This week I've been pretty good about going to the gym for a little bit. I didn't really do too much anything new. Well, I did try to test how many laps I could get under a certain amount of time, but I started it like a few minutes too late, and I wasn't the same speed, because I was trying to see how many I could do with like fast walking, but it's more like between medium and fast speed walking, and I did like almost two, I think it was, full laps where I was jogging. So I don't know. If you're curious, the amount, it was I think it was 12 or 13 laps in 20 minutes ish, something like that. I don't know, but I don't know. It's not a perfect test by any means. I don't know. I was just kind of thinking because I don't know. I recognize that sometimes, also these days, I might just be like, well, I don't really want to spend too long in there, especially when I'm feeling pretty tired. So I just see, well, okay, I'll just give myself this amount of time. And instead of trying to go based on, do I meet a certain number of laps, I just see how many laps I can get, kind of a challenge for myself, right? And I guess I get some more steps in, so, there's that. But anyhow, so that was kind of nice. And I don't know. I've really not been a person who's really done like that much exercise most of my life. I've definitely done plenty of physical activities for sure. Obviously, I have to walk around everywhere. That's right. But do tons of walking in my life. But which is a good thing. Definitely a good thing. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like for a long time, I still feel a lot of the same sort of way, kind of like, there's this whole sort of like super competitive nature to the gym, right? And you just kind of, and there's a whole thing of, I've done this myself, plenty of times already, but, where you can kind of just compare yourself to everyone else, in there and whatnot. And especially feel like it's a good thing, I feel like, that, a lot of people, there's a pretty strong focus on, trying to be, healthy and active here, in the States. A lot of people pretty much are, very active lives. That's good, right? They do it really well. But I just kind of personally, and I think I have to just, for me, it's also just kind of one of those things where I don't know. I've often felt like I didn't really want to do certain stuff just because it was popular, or just because lots of other people did. So I was like, well, what's the point in that, right? And I don't want to conform. I don't want to do something that's like unoriginal. I know those aren't really, going to gym isn't really like the best example of that, but it's one among many different things, right? In that sort of case. But anyhow, hopefully that made some sense too. So I'm probably gonna try to spend maybe a few more minutes out here, and then go back in. Although I don't know, it is pretty nice out here, so I might come back out and do a second video or something. I still do have the homework to do, right? But I don't know. I was kind of just thinking, so I was like, well, speaking of homework, right? Sort of thing I feel like where I normally just try to, I just try to get everything done. I try to be super proactive and whatnot, which I don't do perfectly. There's been definitely plenty of times where I procrastinated stuff. I'm not gonna lie, but not as bad as it used to be sometimes in like middle school or high school. But I don't really think it was too bad. But I don't know, maybe that's just because I'm just not really remembering that well, and I don't really care because long past is the past. Don't really worry about it now. But yeah, the thing is, I was just thinking like, I'm curious if I don't know, maybe this is like purely just like a personal thing, or or maybe it just depends on like the attitude, or maybe you have to live somewhere long enough and really be immersed within a culture for attitudes, behaviors to change, right? But I do wonder if when I'm in Sydney, right, later this year, if I will I don't know, I mean, of course, I'm very curious to see what the homework situation is like. I think they do it. I think they do it fairly differently from here, right? Because, well, you know, one thing is I know that grades are like weightier, and that's because you get fewer of them. I don't even call. Wait, I'm trying to. Do you even call them grades? No, I don't. No, they don't call them grades. It's no, because I know they don't do the A through F system. It's like what? I want to say exceptional, but that's not the right. That's not the right word. It's like, okay, so you have less, as far as I know so far, you have less like assignments that you get a grade or whatever it is they call it down there on, right? But since there's fewer of them, they, you know, and there seem to be some bigger assignments that have this, right? You have to really do well on just a few things. Whereas here, it's like generally at most schools, I think. I mean, there's probably quite a few schools that are different than this, but you know, we kind of just spread it all out generally. Although it's not to say that tests don't weigh a lot for whatever grade or score you get. My experience is less. I mean, it's still pretty big, but it's probably not as much. I don't know. I'll have to see when I go down there. But yeah, I guess I'm curious just to see, like, you know, will my attitudes, you know, towards like homework or, I mean, I don't even know if they do it there, but, or whatever the equivalent would be, I don't know. But, you know, like, will I have a lot more times where I kind of just chill and do other stuff and kind of just take my time with getting stuff done, right? You know, more relaxed about it, more laid back, you know, or will I just, you know, pretty much keep doing things, you know, the same way I have been this last few months or so, at least. Right? And I don't know, but I'm not really too worried about it. It's, you know, not really the biggest thing in the world, but I don't know. Very curious to see. So that's one of my many sort of questions I have. I don't know. I feel like I might not even remember this question at all, but I don't know. I was thinking, like, if I don't know. I don't have like the full idea of it yet, but like if I made like a video or two where or something like that, right, where I kind of just make a whole bunch of like questions, you know, I share like a bunch of questions that I have, right, you know, before I go down there, and then either during, you know, throughout or after the, you know, the program, right, and I come back, you know, will I potentially answer those questions or do some kind of reflection on those? I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, it's possible I might have to just rewatch some of these daily walk videos, but I don't know. The thing is, I've already done so many of these that which I'm honestly doubtful, because I don't really care to most of the time, but I kind of just forget as well. But, you know, if I will make any sort of, I don't know. I see personal comments. No, that's not the right thing. Put anything in the, like, description of the video. You know, what I talked about. I did that actually for a very brief time. In, like, what was it, November or December? But I think I stopped doing that, and I think that was just because, well, one, I forgot to, you know, I wasn't used to it, but two, I think I was doing like a bunch of videos at the time, and I think I had quite a few times where I didn't release the videos probably as soon as I would have liked. Like earlier this school year, I think I was pretty good about generally releasing the videos, these daily walk videos, very shortly after I filmed them. Well, I say filmed them. recorded them, right? But now I don't know. I feel like it's different. I'm not too sure though. Anyways, hopefully you understood all the stuff I'm saying. So anyways, I guess I'm gonna get going and do some homework stuff, whatnot. Take it easy, I suppose. And yeah, I don't know. I really should come back out here and do something else, but I don't know. We'll see. I might very well play more, games or watch TV or something, but I don't know. Oh yeah, and one last sort of thing that I'm very curious about as well, and of course I wasn't expecting my audience to know, but I'm also very curious to know what it's like to go in the Sydney Opera House. I haven't really heard anything about it too much. I know it's quite big, but that's pretty much it. I've seen pictures, sure, but I don't know. I heard something about online about what was it? Some kind of like free ticket thing, or like where you're allowed to attend with like certain kinds of musical events or something. I don't know. Probably misremembering, but so I don't know, something. If there's any Australians or anyone who's been to Australia, please correct me if I'm wrong. But anyways, I will see you all in the next video, and peace and good time. I don't know why I stopped saying that. It's kind of personal funny tradition I do at the end of these videos. Anyways, good time, day, night, whatever it is for you when you're watching this. And I'll see you next video.